Welcome to the Folk School on Willow Creek, featuring University Distinguished Professor Tom Ezern, singing and telling stories from the Salon on Willow Creek.
I need a bed for the night, boys, and my horses need hay. I've been riding that road line on the hottish highway. I've reached the land of corn and wheat, of pumpkin pies and potato sweet. I bought my farm from Uncle Sam, and now I'm happy as a clam. Oh, Kansas land, sweet Kansas land, as on the highest hill I stand, I look the pleasant landscape o'er, for acres broad I'll sigh no more, till Gabriel's trump in loud command says, I must leave my Kansas land. My chickens, they are Plymouth Rock, my horses Clydesdale, Norman stock, my cattle Durham, very fine, and Poland China are my swine. Dakota land, as on the highest hill I stand, I look the pleasant landscape o'er, for acres broad I'll sigh no more, till Gabriel's trump in loud command says, I must leave Dakota Land. Now you ask what place I love the best. The sandhills, oh the sandhills, the place Kincaiders make their home, and prairie chickens freely roam. In all Nebraska wide domain, it's the place I love to see again. The sandhills are the very best. She is queen of all the rest. Saskatchewan, the land of snow, where winds are always on the blow, where people sit with frozen toes, and why we stay no one knows. I've reached the land of drought and heat, where nothing grows for man to eat. Our horses are the bronco race, starvation stares them in the face. Oh, Nebraska land, as on the burning soil I stand, I look away across the plains and wonder why it never rains, till Gabriel blows his trumpet sound, and he says the rain has gone around. Now we're opening up from all parts of the plains with variations on the old gospel hymn, Beulah Land. We're singing this in observance of the great folklorist Bill Koch, born 11 October 1910. And I learned about this song from Bill. We have no wheat, we have no oats, we have no corn to feed our shoats, our chickens are too poor to eat, our pigs go squealing down the street, our fuel is of the cheapest kind, our women all are of one mind, with bag in hand and turned up nose they hunt the chips of buffalo. Oh, Dakota land, as on the dugout rough I stand, I look away across the plains, and I wonder why it never rains, till Gabriel blows his trumpet sound, and he says, ah, the rain has gone around. And happy birthday, Bill Koch. I had the pleasure of singing with him a number of times in my days in Kansas. See, I think I've got a little bit about Bill here. Let me share it with you. That song, Beulah Land, well known. Kansas Land, I first learned it. Bill is the one who published the whole full account of it in the Kansas Quarterly, how it moved all over the plains and took up different characteristics, sometimes about how wonderful the place is, and sometimes how horrible the place is, and sometimes it's the same place in both cases. Yeah, it's a very adaptable song, that gospel song, Beulah Land. Bill Koch. Hang on. Yeah. Oh, there he is, in his late prime in 1980, if you can make out that photograph. There's Bill Koch with guitar and Stetson, the son of a Dakota Territory pioneer. Koch grew up singing songs of the frontier and with an inherent love of folklore in early history. He's widely in demand as a singer of folk songs of the Great Plains. He makes upwards of 50 appearances a year to sing and discuss folklore and pioneer days. For the 1961 Kansas Centennial, he was the co-author of a book, Kansas Folklore. There's a first edition, right there. Sincerely, Bill Koch, it says, yeah. Co-author of Kansas Folklore, degrees from North Dakota State Teachers College, that would be Valley City, I believe, and Kansas State University, member of the Kansas State University faculty. Other, kind of newspaper coverage on Bill, who is something of a public figure, had a radio show for a while. He achieved only the rank of associate professor at Kansas State. Bill had some personal demons, and he was not very good at navigating the academic establishment either. But Lord, he accomplished things, and he was a popular favorite. Here's his obituary. Memorial service is for William E. Bill Koch, 80, died May 18th of 1991. Set for 3 p.m. First Congregational United Church of Christ. Was a nationally renowned expert on folklore. And further family details given in the obituary there. Thank you, Bill, for what you left us. Well, Dr. Kelly, I was able to wake her up here for the show tonight. She's been kind of lounging around all week. Anything happening at the press?
Lounging around all week? Oh my gosh. Well, yesterday I drove students 2.5 hours away, crossed the border into Canada, and we took a visit at Friesen's book printing plant, where we were all pretty awestruck with printing technologies and the history of the Friesen's company. And we spent about 2.5 hours marching around on concrete. So we all got our steps in, but we got to see lots of books being printed, bound, wrapped, getting ready for shipping. So all the stages of printing. So that was one thing.
So this is a world-class printer-publisher in the little town of Altoona, Manitoba.
Altona, yeah.
Friesen Press.
Yes. But that's not all that's been going on. We just came back from exhibiting and selling books at the Northern Great Plains History Conference last week in South Dakota. This coming week, one of our authors, Deborah Marquardt, will be in Fargo at Zambros on October 12th, doing a reading from the new book that we published of hers, Gratitude with Dogs Under Stars.
Did you say Gratitude with Dogs?
Yes, there are some dogs in these poems. And then October 14th, we'll be in the Twin Cities for the Twin Cities Book Festival. And 2 authors will be there at our table signing books. Deborah Marquardt will traipse over there too. And also Paul Legler, who's the author of Half the Terrible Things.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a booth at the WHA, at the Western History Association Conference in LA. So we're kind of getting around.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And we might note out to Jamestown and back. This is one of those cases where I got to just go along and carry Dr. Kelly's bags. She was lecturing for the State Museum of Art which had a traveling exhibit in Jamestown, and Dr. Kelly was doing the gallery talk for them.
I have to correct the name of the gallery. It's the North Dakota Museum of Art. And through, I think it's an NEA, a National Endowment for the Arts grant, they have a rural arts initiative where they bring art to rural locations around the state. So I've been part of their Emily Lundy traveling exhibit. It's been great fun.
Well, logging some miles. I hope you're selling a few books in between.
We are.
All right. Beulah Land. Kicked it off with that. That's an old standard. We got another old standard from the cowboy balladry side of Great Plains folk song to plug into our program tonight. It's a song that's mainly known under what actually was his secondary title when the work's all done this fall. Originally was known as After the Roundup. It was written by DJ O'Malley. Now, O'Malley is one of these guys who got on with the Montana cattle industry, came up the trail, worked the industry in Montana, stayed on, and then he and Teddy Blue Abbott, they kind of became fixtures at the Montana Livestock Association meetings. And they would, of course, tell whoppers, a lot of whoppers, and occasionally break into song, or at least into poetry. For the gathering there. Now, there are quite a number of songs that feature some poor lad who hooks up at the outfit and comes to an untimely end, usually at the hest of a stampede. And this is one of them. When the work's all done this fall, I would call it a tearjerker. Now, there are two reasons why we're plugging it into the program tonight. One of them is that this song appeared for the first time in print on the 6th of October, 1893 in the Stock Growers Journal. And from there passed into an oral tradition. Was not published around in newspapers and stuff very much. It went largely by word of mouth. It gets into the repertoire of popular cowboy singers in the late 20th century and right on down to present day. It's a popular song to take into a cowboy poetry gathering yet today. It's by DJ O'Malley, as I say, who wrote a number of fine cowboy ballads. I'm going to give it a shot. Of the text that we could pick out, I've got the original. All right, this is one of those songs where most all critics agree the song got better in transmission. That is, it happens with folk song at times. Then there's some rough spots in them, and then the oral transmission of it kind of combs the burrs out of the coat of it, and it turns out better. And so now I've got the snapshot of it made by Carl Sandburg, the great poet. Sandburg was a rock star poet in the early 20th century. He would sometimes read poetry to a crowd of 4,000 or 5,000 people in an auditorium. And when he was done, he'd pick up a little, not a big box guitar like this, but a little guitar, like my travel guitar. It's over in the other corner here, my little Martin. And he'd have nylon strings on it, and he'd just kind of plunk and plank away. And he'd sing, "I ride an old paint," and the hope maybe plug a hobo song in. And then if he wanted for a tearjerker, he might go with this one. Okay, I found a key that'll work. A group of jolly cowboys discussing plans at ease. Says one, "I'll tell you something, boys, you will listen please. I am an old cow puncher and I go on great big jags. I used to be a tough one, yet I own big jags. But I have got a homeboy, the good one you all know. Although I have not seen it since long, long ago. I'm a-going back to Dixie once more to see them all. I'm a-going to see my mother when the work's all done this fall. After the roundup's over and after the shipping's done, I'm going right straight home, boys, ere all my money is gone. I've changed my ways, boys, no more will I fall. And I'm going home, boys, when the work's all done this fall. When When I left home, boys, my mother for me cried. Begged me not to go, boys, for me she would have died. My mother's heart is breaking, breaking for me, that's all. With God's help I'll see her when the work's all done this fall. That very night this cowboy went out to stand his guard. The night was dark and cloudy and storming very hard. The cattle, they got frightened and they rushed in wild stampede. The cowboy tried to head him, riding at full speed. While riding in the darkness, so loudly did he shout, trying his best to head them and turn the herd about. His saddle horse did stumble and on him did fall. The poor boy won't see his mother when the work's all done this fall. Body was so mangled, the boys all thought him dead. They picked him up so gently and laid him on a bed. He opened wide his blue eyes and looking all around, he motioned to his comrades to sit him on the ground. Boys, send my mother my wages, the wages I have earned. For I'm afraid, boys, my last steer I have turned. I'm going to a new range, I hear my master's call. I'll not see my mother when the work's all done this fall. Oh, Bill, you can have my saddle. George, you can take my bed. Jack, you can have my pistol after I am dead. Boys, think of me kindly when you look upon them all, for I'll not see my mother when the work's all done this fall. Poor Charlie was buried at sunrise, no tombstone at his head, nothing but a little board, and this is what it said. Charlie died at daybreak, he died from a fall, and the boy won't see his mother when the work's all done this fall. Thank you, Mr. O'Malley, for that one. I do like being able to trace these songs right back to their origins. Now, where to put here? I dropped my script, but you got one there, Dr. Kelly. What are we going to do next here? Oh, yeah. Do we have any guests with us?
Yes, we do. Here, I'll give you.
Oh, you're going to let me have that one?
I'll give you a copy of the script. We can send out congratulations to Nancy Kelly, who retired last Thursday.
What?
And we'll wish her all the best in transitions.
Nancy Kelly can't retire at 49.
I guess she has some projects that she wants to work on. Work is getting in the way.
Do what you want to do, Nancy. Great.
And a shout out from Amanda Biles, Dr. Biles, who, when I mentioned our trip up to Canada to Friesens, recalls having gone there herself. She did the certificate in publishing when she was working on her PhD here. So she's made that trek.
I don't think he and Joe are in Abilene tonight, though. I think they're out west of the Pecos somewhere,
they're
right?
in Marfa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dangerous out west of the Pecos, you know.
And then there's a note from Emily that you'll be interested in hearing. Let me see if I can pull it back up here. Since I got up away from the screen. Here we go. Here is my choir story. I pulled out a tenor and bass arrangement of Home on the Range.
Tenor and bass, huh? But I would like to see a singing bass.
Sorry.
Well, they used to have those, right?
I actually know that.
The bass on the tenor and bass. Okay, she pulled out a tenor and bass.
It's all fishy to me. All right. So she pulled out this arrangement. Her fellows said, Miss I, this is one of those cowboy songs from your dad's show that one time. And they decided to go ahead and take it to contest this season.
What's the song?
Home on the Range.
Home on the Range?
Yeah, I thought it said that.
Well, I'd like to know what the arrangement is, because famously David Guion of Texas, back in the 30s, arranged Home on the Range for a variety of ensembles, including male solo. And it was really quite popular up here in North Dakota in the 30s and 40s for boys, young men, to take Home on the Range to contest as a solo.
So in tenor and bass, I bet Emily will share that arrangement.
I would love to see it. Scan her in there. We'd like to see it. How about that? Well, okay. I want to announce that we have reached on the Northern Plains this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday, and particularly Sunday. We've reached that point in the calendar which I refer to as peak fall supper. You know, I've been talking about fall suppers for weeks. It's just this interesting phenomenon that goes on. For those of you who are listening from Ellenwood, the St. John's Lutheran Church fish fry, we'll multiply that by about 500. And this is what you got going on across the landscape here in North Dakota at the same time of year. Usually with turkey and trimmings, sometimes sausage, and various menus. But I'll tell you, look at all these going on this Sunday. Walhalla St. Boniface Catholic Church, fall supper, turkey and all the trimmings. And I've posted links to Heritage Trails, a little Facebook group, and the calendar for Heritage Trails, where all these events are going on. Walhalla, Hunter, I'm headed for Hunter with a couple of my fine NDSU students on Sunday to the St. Agnes fall turkey dinner, serving buffet style. And I don't know what else they got, but I hope there's pie. There better darn well be pie. St. John's annual fall dinner at wait a minute, where the heck is this one? Oh yeah, Grafton, North Dakota. Turkey dinner, country store, raffle. Churches love gambling. The Sacred Heart fall dinner in Wilton. Roast beef, mashed potatoes. The whole deal. St. Bernard Church fall dinner in Belfield. Roast beef and chicken, mashed potatoes, and so on. What? No pierogies? St. Martin Church fall dinner in Hazen, North Dakota. Another roast beef dinner. Okay, that seems to be getting into November. We're going heavily on the roast beef. Should be shifting to turkey, you'd think, by now. St. Maurice's Church fall dinner. That's a turkey dinner in Kindred, North Dakota. And finally, I've got here, St. Catherine's in Braddock. You know what they serve for the main entree at the fall dinner
in Braddock?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Chipped beef on toast. Can you dig that? And they also serve hamburger rice, which is a deal in German-Russian country, hamburger rice. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Bingo, of course, at the community hall after the dinner. Don't say there's no place to eat on Sunday, right? This is just one of those wonderful regional customs we try to draw attention to. I don't know. I've got your tissues handy, Dr. K.
Are things about to get melancholy?
They're about to get melancholy, I guess would be a good word for it. I've got to sing this song because I've got the earworm for it. Lorena. A fabulously popular song on the Great Plains in the generation after the Civil War. But of course, it originates just before the Civil War, and then it takes with the Northern troops, but it crosses the Ohio River, and it's down there in Confederate regiments and being sung around pianos at homes of Southerners, actually during the war. And it comes out to the plains. And Louise Pound said it was the most popular folk song in Nebraska in her day, which would be the turn of the 20th century. And it had to be in a number of states. I got onto newspapers.com, and so you can put like a line from a song in there and say, where does this appear in newspapers? And so I put in, the years creep slowly by, Lorena, in as a search string, and did a national search. I want you to notice how this comes out. If you take a look at that, and this map, the clip of this map is on the Facebook timeline above this video tonight. That Kansas is the darkest red state of them all. How many hits? 44 hits. In other words, 44 newspapers at some point in late 19th century published the lyrics to Lorena in the local paper, which is like twice as many as any other state, including states like New York and Ohio, which have far more people and far more newspapers and everything. Nebraska has quite a few, but it's not up there with Kansas. Interesting that the song is down in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Alabama, Mississippi. You know, it's like Lily Marlene during the Second World War, when both sides, the Americans and the Germans, were singing Lily Marlene. In the Civil War, both North and South was singing Lorena. Where does this song come from? Well, it becomes a folk song, certainly. It enters the hearts of people and it comes out of their mouths. It becomes a folk song, but it is a composed song. And various modern writers have told this story, but I found somebody telling the story in the heyday of the song, in the middle of the Gilded Age, an account appearing in the South Kansas Tribune, Independence, Kansas, in September of 1884. And I clipped that and asked Dr. Kelly to give us a reading of how they told the story of the origins of Lorena in its own time.
Here we go. Lorena's Lover. History of the song that charmed all hearts some 20 years ago. About the year 1858, there appeared in the musical circles of the West a song which for 12 years had a run rarely attained by popular melodies. The music had a peculiar charm. The words were singularly touching. In fact, the extreme pathos of the words contributed as much perhaps as the music to give the composition its wonderful success. It was sung everywhere, in parlors, in concerts, on the streets, and in the camps of the contending armies. In the Northern Army, it was immensely popular, and it found its way south through Cincinnati and Louisville and into Southern homes. Everywhere was Lorena. A person now sometimes meets in society young ladies named Lorena, called that by their mothers 20 years ago. That the song had a story, nearly everyone familiar with it supposed, and supposed correctly, and it may not be uninteresting at this late date to give admirers of the famous melody the facts in the love affair. The author of the words was the Reverend H.D.L. Webster. He studied in the Columbus Academical and Collegiate Institute and was editor of the college paper. In the year 1848, being then 20 years of age and full of poetry and romance, he was enjoying his first pastorate in Zanesville, Ohio. His leading parishioner was a wealthy manufacturer whose residence was upon one of the many hills which surround that smoky town. There lived in this family a younger sister of his wife, who was the leading singer in the choir. She was 19 years of age, small of stature, had blue eyes and light brown hair, and was as fair as a lily. She was not only a sweet singer, but she was as full of poetry and romance as her pastor, and they soon became very much attached. Their loving did not, however, prosper well, for the family were proud and aristocratic and had higher notions of the girl's future than to sanction her marriage with a poor preacher. As she was dependent upon them for a home, she was forced to yield to their counsel, and they were obliged to give each other up. Lorena seems to have been passive, indecisive in character, and submissive in the hands of her strong-willed sister. Mr. Webster saw her for the last time at her home, learned of the sister's unconquerable opposition, heard his fate, and took a quiet but painful farewell, very little being said. That night she wrote him a last letter, in which she used the words so well remembered by those familiar with the song, "If we try, we may forget." The effect of the separation was to crush the young man, and writing to a friend 5 years ago, 26 years after the occurrence, he says, I doubt if all dark lines are erased from my heart yet. He resigned his pastorate and sought another field, smothering his pain by hard work and study. And the only sign of that pain the world ever saw was the heart cry of the song, Lorena.
Lorena, by Reverend H.D.L. Webster. The years creep slowly by, Lorena. The snow is on the grass again. The sun's low down the sky, Lorena. The frost gleams where the flowers have been. But the heart throbs on as warmly now as when the summer days were nigh. Oh, the sun can never dip so low, but down affection's cloudless sky. 100 months have passed, Lorena, since last I held her hand in mine and felt her pulse beat fast, Lorena, though mine beats faster far than thine. 100 months of flowery May, when up the chilly slope we climb to watch the drying of the day and hear church bells chime. We love each other then, Lorena, much more than we ever dared to tell. And what we might have been, Lorena, as but our lovings prospered well. But 'ten 'tis past, years have gone, I'll not call up their shadowy forms. I'll say to them, lost years, sleep on, nor heed life's pelting storm. Now the story of the past, Lorena, alas, I dare not to repeat. The hopes that could not last, Lorena, but they lived only to cheat. I would not cause anyone regret to rankle in your bosom now. For if we try, we may forget were the words of thine long years ago. These were words of thine, Lorena. They burn within my memory yet. They touched some tender chords, Lorena, that thrill and tremble with regret. 'Twas not thy woman's heart that spoke. Thou wast always true to me. Duty stern and pressing broke, which linked my soul with thee. It matters little now, Lorena, the past is in eternal past. Our heads will soon lie low, Lorena, life's tide is ebbing out so fast. There is a future, oh thank God, of life this is so small a part. 'Tis dust to dust beneath the sod, but there up up there 'tis heart to heart. There is a future, oh thank God, of life this is so small a part. Let's dust to dust beneath the sod. But there, up there, 'tis heart to heart. Yes. Regrets? Everybody's got some. If you don't, so you may recognize elements of that song. You don't know, why do I know that song? Well, John Ford tended to lift Lorena. He used it in at least two of his great westerns, including The Searchers. It was the homecoming theme from The Searchers. Well, you can find various themes running through the program for tonight, but one of them is the advance of that which is around us, the color of the leaves, the temperatures. I don't believe we're going to get that hard freeze in tonight, but some of our neighbors just a little west will, and you'll notice some of our friends are logging in here this evening and saying, oh, maybe a freeze even in southern Kansas tonight. Maybe in Nebraska, I think Kathy is saying here. I don't know. I hope you got your geraniums in, folks, and taking care of what you need to. And I got to thinking along those lines this afternoon, and I penned a calendar ballad for this week, and it's called Unfinished Business. Working hard while the sun shines for all your worth. Then at noon the wind swings round to the north, and it all gets still in the evening light. You know it's coming, hard freeze tonight. Unfinished business, things left undone, just not enough hours from sun to sun, not enough days for winter's here. Unfinished business, give me one more year. Unfinished business, give me one more year. There's a job unfinished, there's a debt unpaid, there's a telephone call that I should have made. When the white stuff comes, outside I'll go and taste forgiveness in the falling snow. Unfinished business, things left undone, not enough hours from sun to sun, not enough days for winter here. Unfinished business, give me one more year. I think maybe one more time, because everybody agrees, I believe. We've got unfinished business, things left undone, not enough Nothing but a little bored. This here's what it said. Charlie died at daybreak. He died from a fall. The boy won't see his mother when the work's all done in the fall. Well, 100 months have passed, Lorena, since I held your hand in mine. I felt your pulse beat past, Lorena, but mine beat faster far than thine. Where the year and the end auto play with sentimental, oh, discouraging words, and the skies are not cloudy, not cloudy all the day. No, the skies are not cloudy all day. Dr. Kelly.
We now conclude today's edition of the Folk School on Willow Creek. We invite you to join us again next Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time for more songs and stories.